Little Webs and Iron Arms by Little Lover Fandoms. Peter Parker had faced a lot of strange things in his life, alien invasions, time travel, and even clones, but nothing could have prepared him for the moment he found himself in the mirror, barely able to stand, chubby fingers gripping the edge of the sink. He was a baby, a literal diaper-wearing, pacifier-chewing baby. "Friday, tell me I didn't just hear a baby crying in my lab," Tony Stark groaned, rubbing his temples. "I wish I could, boss," the AI responded. "But according to all biometric scans, that infant is Peter Parker." Tony blinked at the tiny, wide-eyed child sitting in the middle of his work table, holding up a toy Iron Man figure like it was the most fascinating thing in the universe. Pepper Potts walked in, heels clicking against the floor. "Tony, why is there a baby in the lab?" "I was about to ask the same thing," Tony said, waving a hand at the baby. "Apparently, that's Spider-Baby." Pepper gasped. "Peter?" The little baby giggled and smacked his toy Iron Man against the table. "Tony," he squeaked. Tony's expression softened. "All right, that's kind of adorable." Pepper sighed, rubbing her forehead. "How did this happen?" "Good question," Tony said, scanning the lab security footage. After a few minutes, he found the answer. Peter had been testing out some sort of experimental energy device when it backfired and, well, de-aged him. "Fantastic, just another day in the life of Spider-Man," Tony muttered. "All right, until we fix this, we're officially parents." Pepper stared at him. "You're kidding." "I don't kid about these things, Pep. The kids needs us." As if proving Tony's point, Peter stretched his arms out towards Pepper. "Mama?" Pepper's heart melted on the spot. "Oh, we are in so much trouble." Tony smirked, scooping Peter up. "Yup, and it's gonna be great." The first night was a disaster. Tony had dealt with malfunctioning suits, hostile takeovers, and alien warlords, but nothing, not even fighting Thanos, prepared him for a screaming, inconsolable Peter Parker at 3 a.m. "Why is he crying?" Tony asked, panicked, holding baby Peter at arm's length. Pepper, half asleep but still composed, groaned from her spot in bed. "He's a baby, Tony. He probably needs a bottle, a diaper change, or just comfort." "Comfort? I build weapons, not bedtime routines," Tony grumbled. But when Peter's wails only got louder, he sighed and pulled him close, awkwardly rocking him. All right, kid. Calm down. I and Dad's got you." Peter sniffled and curled into Tony's chest, his tiny fingers fisting into his shirt. Pepper smirked. "You were saying?" Tony rolled his eyes. Yeah, don't rub it in." After a few more sleepless nights, Tony started upgrading the tower with high-tech baby-proofing systems. Friday installed motion sensors to track Peter's movements, since the kid still had web-slinging instincts even as a baby. The kitchen had an AI-assisted feeding station, and the nursery, state-of-the-art Stark tech, complete with lullabies programmed by Friday herself. Rhodey dropped by and nearly choked on his coffee. "You built a fully automated baby care system?" Tony shrugged. "I optimise?" Pepper rolled her eyes. He panicked. Peter, meanwhile, had taken a liking to Rhodey, giggling whenever he saw the War Machine suit. "Boom!" he chirped happily. Rhodey grinned. "Yeah, that's my boy." Despite Tony's baby-proofing, Peter quickly proved that spider-babies were just as much trouble as spider-teens. One morning, Pepper walked into the kitchen to find Peter hanging upside down from the ceiling, happily munching on a stolen cookie. "Tony!" she called. "Your son is defying gravity again." Tony strolled in, sipping his coffee. "He's a Parker. Comes with a package." Peter grinned at them. "Tony! Mama!" Tony chuckled. "You gotta admit, the kid's got style." Later that day, Peter got into Tony's workshop, managing to web himself to the floor. It took an hour to detangle him while he giggled uncontrollably. "I swear I wasn't this much trouble as a kid," Tony muttered, prying webbing off his face. Pepper shot him a look. You built a rocket in your garage at 15? Tony sighed. Fair point. Of course, things didn't stay peaceful for long. Steve Rogers showed up at the tower, looking uncomfortable. Tony, I heard something happened to Peter. I wanted to check in. Tony's expression immediately hardened. We got it handled, Cap. Steve frowned. He's still my friend. Tony scoffed. Really? Where was that friendship when you let Barnes try to rip my head off? Steve's jaw tightened, but before he could argue, baby Peter, who had been content in Pepper's arms, took one look at Steve and burst into tears. Pepper gently bounced him. Shh, it's okay, sweetheart. Tony smirked. Huh, kid's got good instincts. Steve sighed. Tony? No, we're not doing this. Tony's voice was final. Peter doesn't need people who abandoned him. We're his family now. Steve looked like he wanted to argue, but seeing Peter so distressed, he simply nodded and left. Pepper sighed. That was tense. Tony kissed Peter's forehead. He doesn't need them. He's got us. Days turned into weeks. Peter, despite the situation, was happy. He adored Pepper, clung to Rhodey like a second dad, and demanded, Tony up! Whenever he wanted Iron Man-powered flights around the tower. But Tony knew he had to fix it. As much as he loved this weird little family, Peter deserved to be himself again. When the moment finally came, Tony hesitated. Pepper squeezed his hand. He'll still need us, Tony. That won't change. With a deep breath, Tony activated the device. A flash of light, and suddenly, teenage Peter sat on the floor, dazed. He blinked up at them. Why do I feel like I just took the world's longest nap? Tony smirked. You're adorable, kid. Pepper sighed. You called me Mama. Peter turned bright red. I what? Tony laughed. Relax, kid, you're stuck with us, baby or not. Peter looked between them, realization dawning. He had a family. A real one. He grinned. Yeah, guess I am. Tony ruffled his hair. Welcome home, kid. And for the first time in a long time, Peter knew he was exactly where he was meant to be. Thank you for listening. I hope you enjoyed, and thank you again to the author for giving me permission to record this. Have a lovely rest of your day.